Welcome to the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I am Amber Romaniuk, emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert. I am also the founder of amberapproved.ca. I support professional women achieve optimal health through mindful eating, self-care, and overcoming self-sabotage with food. This podcast provides the honest truth on what you really need to create body freedom. The No Sugarcoating Podcast provides information on healthy living, lifestyle changes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. Always seek the advice of your healthcare practitioner regarding your health and nutrition program. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 223 of the No Sugarcoating Podcast. This week, I'm talking about how being a high achiever is impacting your health, overachieving, and a lack of confidence, and support your health, support your success. This podcast has really been inspired by hundreds, if not thousands, of conversations that I've had with women between complimentary consultations, speaking, doing lunch and learns, coaching with my private clients, and that I see a very common theme with my clients, which is the overachieving mindset, perfectionism, all or nothing mindset. So I really wanted to spend today talking about the significant impacts of overachieving on your health, physically, mentally, and emotionally, because it does play a huge role. And whilst I'm all for being motivated and focused and, wanting to achieve your goals, we need to also take our health and well-being into account. So really excited to share more with you guys today. I'm just going to share a couple key announcements and then I will dive right in. So make sure that you are staying tuned to the episodes by subscribing on your favorite podcast app. You can click through to the show notes to subscribe. All the show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/223. So you can read more there if you feel like you want to click through to anything that I suggest from today. So I've heard from many women that this is the year that they want to take better care of their bodies. They want to feel better and look better. Without the diets though, without the shakes, without the harsh, eating styles like keto messing up their hormones. When I ask people, you've tried diets, but have you taken a different approach that includes self-love and self-care and overcoming emotional eating to help balance your body and lose weight and reach optimal health? And when women answer, 100% of them say no. That's significant. 100% say no. It's not surprising because so many women are struggling with the diet mentality and with diets advertised everywhere and all the pressure and celebrities and influencers endorsing them, we think it's what we need to do. Consider this though. If diets worked, the diet industry wouldn't be a $70 billion plus industry every year. If we are busy chasing the latest fix but not addressing the core issues, I can promise you one thing, we will always be chasing. It is truly time for a different approach. So what if loving yourself exactly as you are now is the key to achieving optimal health? What if slowing down and bringing balance to your schedule and addressing your overachieving mindsets whilst having it support your success and help expand your business or your relationships is actually what it helps you to do? So if you want better sleep, better energy, digestion, mental clarity, moods, hormone imbalance, weight loss in a healthy way, and to overcome your emotional eating, then there's a great opportunity here to take a self-loving path. If you truly want 2020 to be your year, I suggest taking the pressure off of dieting and focus on building self-love and self-worth instead. So if you're ready to invest in your health and this is resonating to you, I highly encourage you to reach out and email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line February coaching sale, or click the link in the show notes to book a 30-minute complimentary body freedom call. You'll fill out an intake form and we will have a wonderful connected conversation, a very simple, welcoming conversation around your health goals and struggles, where you're seeking support and why a different approach is probably exactly what you need. So again, you can email me at info@amberapproved.ca or you can click the link below in the show notes. And I look very forward to connecting with you. Last but not least, stay tuned to the end of the show notes for just a reminder announcement about the awesome giveaway that's going on right now, the worldwide giveaway. So if you're finding a specific eating style isn't working for you, you're struggling with emotional eating, food addiction, digestive issues, inflammation, you have a suspicion that your hormones are off, but you have no idea how to address it, your PMS or menopause symptoms are really bad, your weight continues to be a struggle, you are struggling to make yourself a priority, well, you are in the right place, my friends. Welcome to all the new listeners, all the listeners who've been with me from the beginning, because I'm here to help you dive into the habits and mindsets to set you on a different path. Amber Approved offers private coaching for hormonal imbalances, weight loss and digestive issues, emotional eating, and more. Contact Amber at amberapproved.ca to book your 30-minute complimentary consultation today. So how being a high achiever is impacting your health? Well, you may think that it doesn't have any impact, but the impacts are actually quite significant. And I've witnessed this from, women of all walks of life, whether they're business owners or professional women, mothers, friends, being a wife, a girlfriend, a daughter, a sister, a mom, whatever your roles are outside of you being your own best friend. Being an overachiever has a significant impact on your health. So in my practice, I really see women, everything from business owners to doctors to lawyers to nurses, psychologists and therapists, executives, accountants. I have a lot of very ambitious women that come to seek out my support. Most people in their work, whether it's you own a business or you work for someone else, in your profession, though, a lot of them, they want to excel in their work. And it doesn't matter, again, whether you're working for someone else or you're running a business, you want to excel, you want to have success. But one thing that I notice across the board that all of these women are struggling with is that they are struggling with emotional eating. They're struggling with their self-worth. They're usually struggling with their weight or body image. And even before doing the work, some of them had no idea that they were struggling with emotional eating or body image issues, or that they're trying to keep their schedule so busy to distract them from actually having to deal with their stuff or get uncomfortable. And what's so interesting is as they start to do the work, they start to realize how deep this has gone and how significant of an impact it's had on their emotional health and their self-worth and their relationship with food, their digestion and hormones, and then how that's rippling out to have a negative impact on their relationships with their spouses or their partners or their kids or their coworkers or their employees or their bosses, or also how that's impacted their abilities with money and success because they're just not able to show up the way they want to. So it is significant, to see and experience not only my clients, but even just people in the health and wellness industry locally where I live, and that a lot of the people who are preaching health and wellness are not able to practice it themselves. And that has a significant impact on your life. And I don't think that we should have to choose between business and health or money and health. I do believe we're worthy to have it all, but that we do have to work on our mindset and do the deeper work to help ourselves to get to that optimal health, body freedom, and have it support and benefit us to manifest more success and abundance without having to overachieve. So again, that's really what's inspired today's podcast. So I want to dissect some key things that I see being a high achiever or an overachiever and how they're impacting your health. So the first thing that I do want to talk about is, emotional health and your relationship with food, because it has a significant impact. So essentially kind of the cycle that I see happen for women is their schedule's very overbooked. They have a lot on their plate all the time because they're trying to prove. So they're trying to prove that they're good enough. They're trying to prove that they are smart enough or talented enough or capable enough, or whatever the reasons are. They have a point to prove. Maybe they got bullied when they were younger, told they couldn't. And so they're really wanting to come back and show that they can, do all these things and have the success. So there can be that aspect. And usually though, what is below that, what is driving this need to overachieve is not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy. Like I said, maybe people told you you'll never get there. Or maybe, when you were younger, like your parents are both overachievers, so you really took on that mentality. Maybe you feel like you have to be perfect. And often this overachieving mindset is really tied to the all or nothing mindset, where it's like you're all in 100%, like focusing on something. And if one little thing goes wrong, then you're completely all out, going the other way, and especially with food. So it's like you're all in perfect with a diet, and one little slip up happens and then you're going all out the other way, and you're binging or overeating and emotionally eating and being really hard on your body in that way. So I see those tie in together as well. But when we have a low self-worth and we're feeling very insecure in ourselves, our body is what we have to offer, bring to the table, we often can get to this point where we think, well, if I prove myself enough, then maybe I can get validation from other people that I'm good enough and I am smart enough and strong enough or capable enough to do this role or to run this business or make X amount of money. I even know when I first started my business, I was telling people like, I want to publish a book. I want to be on TV. I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. I want to be world renowned because I know I can help people, and I really do see myself going in that direction. I really want to leave an impact on this world in a positive way. And I remember telling different people this, like guys I dated, or like going to different social networking events and like sharing, that I was focusing on emotional eating and, just certain parts of my expertise. And I remember these people saying to me, like, is that realistic? That seems really unrealistic. That's a lot. Like, how is that possible? Or you're never going to amount to anything. Emotional eating is too fluffy and too woo-woo. You're too compassionate and blah, blah, blah. And it really like made me angry, and like it pissed me off essentially that, these people didn't really know me and didn't know what I was capable of and were putting me down. So whilst I was feeling pretty confident and worthy at that point, there was this part of me that wanted to prove and like overachieve to show these people, almost like get revenge of like, I'll show you, I'm really going to do it because I want to prove you wrong. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using negative criticism as motivation. But I think there's a huge difference between having someone say something like that to you and then feeling really insecure and then again having to overachieve to prove to them versus go, I'm going to use that as a motivator and I'm going to do this for me and because I really want to help people. And the other thing that I found so ironic about it is it was all men who were doing this. So not to hate on men, like I'm not opposed. My boyfriend is super supportive and like he believes in me 100% and I'm so grateful. But I just thought it was so interesting that it was that, that pool of people kind of doing that. Anyways, I think that it's just so important that we understand what is at the core of our limiting beliefs or our insecurities, because it is often the driver of so many things we're taking action on. And the problem is when we're always overbooked because you have these core insecure beliefs you're trying to prove or, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it usually comes not from an empowering, positive place. It usually comes from more of a space of like fear, worry, fear of rejection, fear of being judged, not good enough, anxiousness, I'm a disappointment. I'm never going to get there. Again, my validation is tied up in what other people think of me. And as long as we stay in that role, at some point or another, it is going to probably have a significant impact on your health, because I've never had one client come to me with these kinds of mindsets and thoughts and habits and have good health. Like, I'll just be blunt and honest that like, I've never seen it. There's always hormone and digestive issues. There's emotional eating. There's weight struggles, body image struggles, schedules are overbooked. And it's having a significant impact on their quality of life. And for anybody, I don't want that. I want you to have an amazing quality of life. So what ends up happening then is they're overbooked, as I've been talking about, but I wanted to address what is at the core, because it's so important to understand what is at the core and what's motivating you. So if it's fear, worry, fear of judgment, comparison to others, and all those negative things, it will often then have you be driven by negative reactionary emotions, versus if you're in confidence, you have your self-worth, you feel good enough, you feel whole and happy, you're being driven probably from passion and inspiration, and you want to help people or serve, but you also know that you will not compromise your health to do that. And you don't need to prove. Therefore, you probably have more balance in your schedule. And I mean, if you're overachieving and you love what you do and you're passionate, like there's probably passion there. I'm not saying there's not, but I often do find it just comes from a completely different place. So with that overbooked schedule coming from these limiting beliefs, you start to get overwhelmed. People have anxiety, depression, low moods, I like to label it as or call it. You're more irritable maybe. Maybe, you look at your schedule and it literally makes you tear up and want to cry, or you want to just check out and put your head in the sand and do absolutely nothing and just binge watch Netflix. Or maybe you have your schedule so overbooked because the thought of carving out some time for yourself to work on yourself, to connect with your body, to say nice things to yourself, to understand where your self-worth issues come from. It scares the crap out of you. And the thought of it just makes you so uncomfortable that you're like, God, no, I can't deal with that. So I'm just going to book myself up even more to distract myself and to not have to think about it. But let's face it, the more we suppress it and the more we shove it down, the more it builds up. And at some point it does explode in our faces. And it can get to the point where people end up very seriously sick because of, these mindsets and taking so much action, but not actions that take your health into consideration. And it does end up costing people, in a lot of different ways with their health and well-being. So we don't want to get to that point. But the overwhelm and these emotions that I'm talking about can be very uncomfortable to feel. So for a lot of people, not just women, but, for the people that I share with, it's primarily women, they start to use food as a coping mechanism, and then the emotional eating starts. So I really believe that emotional eating is any reason to eat other than for physical nourishment. So whether you're bored, happy, sad, angry, you've had a stressful day, you're tired, you're dehydrated, you've skipped meals or snacks, you're dieting and you had a bad day on your diet, so now you're falling the other way and you're restricting, and so now you're eating all the foods you're not allowing yourself to have because you're rebelling today. Or, you exercised too much, or you hopped on the scale and that's triggered you to want to binge because you're not happy with what you see on there. Like, there's many things that can trigger you to overeat or to stress eat or emotionally eat. And that overbooked schedule is a massive trigger. I find overwhelm is one of the most common triggers that my clients struggle with when it comes to emotional eating. And as they dissect it, they come to realize that their way overbooked schedule and the lack of time they're taking for themselves is playing a huge role in the emotional eating, which is then impacting their self-worth and the way they feel about their bodies and their weight and their insecurities. And it's also impacting their digestion and hormones and cravings and blood sugar. And so once they start to realize this full circle, massive impact that it's having, they don't want to continue with it. They do want to make changes. And to address I'm way too busy, I don't have time to stop or slow down and take care of myself. Like, I don't have time on my schedule. Like, I know that's an objection for some people, and I will address that more today, but it's to really think of your body is not a machine. Your body is this beautiful vessel that allows you to do everything that you do. And if you continue to mistreat your body and not nourish her properly and rest her and hydrate her and take time to deal with your stress, at some point it will catch up with you. No one is invincible and no one is immortal on this earth. And I've witnessed time and time again women who go and are always on the go. Again, their symptoms just get worse until they choose to slow down or something happens. Whether you break an ankle or you injure yourself or you do get sick. I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but I just see it so commonly with women's symptoms getting worse, or they gain more weight, or their emotional eating gets worse, or their moods get lower, or it has a significant impact on their relationships or their work or their relationships with their kids. So at some point, things give, and it does have an impact. And I think it's so important to address that. The emotional eating is a really core part that costs women big time when it comes to their self-worth, their body image, their weight, and their abilities to show up in a balanced way and have success in all areas of their lives. And, I find if this piece is not addressed, not a lot will change. And so if you're just doing the diet quick fix approach, and you're probably finding that nothing is changing, or you only have short-term results before you gain the weight back, or you maybe have, some weight loss or some success on your diet, but then you fear, the past repeating itself and gaining it back and your energy dropping again and having to go through all of it all over again. And if you're in that cycle again, that's another distractive mechanism. And your all or nothing mindset's just going to want you to keep dieting because you've probably convinced yourself that you just haven't found the right diet. And once you find the right diet and you're perfect on it, then everything will be good. When you'll never be perfect on a diet, and dieting is just another form of punishment. I don't believe we are should be trying to find the perfect diet. Like, that's a lot of my clients come to me and they're like, I just need to find the right diet. And it's like, you know what? There is no right diet. It's about learning how to listen to your body and understand what your body uniquely needs. And that's something I pride myself on when I work with my clients, is helping to teach you how to listen to your body and build awareness so that you know what you need, so that when we're done working together, you have that forever. Like, that's something that you learn. And then that way you can adjust, because sometimes you're going to need more carbs, you're going to need more protein, you're going to need more fat. And no diet will ever be able to help you identify what your needs are as your life happens and things show up. So we must address your emotional health and the emotional relationship that you have with food to have it have a positive impact on your physical and emotional state of health. And further to that, we must address the schedule. And we must address the low self-worth and the feelings of not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy. Because as long as you don't feel good enough, you're going to try to people please or prove or overachieve or try to be perfect, because you think that's what you need to do to be accepted, when your acceptance, your self-worth, the love, the worthiness, it's all within you. But as long as you are so busy distracting yourself and overbooking your schedule to avoid facing yourself, it will make it really difficult for you to find those things and have the inner peace that you're seeking. So when it comes to this emotional relationship with food and the overbooked schedule and the insecurities, it has a significant impact, for a lot of women on their digestion. They're bloated, they're gassy, they're constipated, their stools are loose, their bowels are irregular, and they're not going every day. They're puffy, they're inflamed, your face is puffy, or your rings are fitting tight on your fingers, your ankles are puffy, you feel like you're gaining weight in your abdominal area, and you're angry about it, you're frustrated. And you're not happy because you don't have control over your body. And maybe you may feel like you have control over other things in life. But when your body is, talking to you with all these symptoms and you're not paying attention, usually the symptoms will just get louder and your body will yell at you to try to get your attention, because that's what symptoms are, is your body's means of communicating with you. So it's not only digestive, I see a lot of women struggling with hormone imbalances. So I've talked a lot about cortisol, adrenal fatigue, high cortisol, and, the fatigue, the low energy, the troubles waking up in the morning, the afternoon energy lulls, the salt and carb cravings, the abdominal weight gain and troubles losing weight, the irritability, the PMS symptoms that can come along with this, the low moods, digestion being more sensitive. Like, adrenal fatigue is real and it's not fun. I've been there, and it impacts your sleep. You can't fall asleep, or you're wide awake in the middle of the night. And it's frustrating to be, a business owner or a professional or a mom and to sleep poorly and not be able to have the energy that you need to honor yourself and do what you need to do in the day for others as well. So when your energy's low, it's like, how do you take on higher level opportunities if you're exhausted, right? If you're exhausted, you stay at status quo at best, because you're just like, I don't have the capacity to take that on. So you don't necessarily have the ability to grow your business, grow your client base, open that next, maybe you're franchising and you can't open that next space. So because you just don't have the energy and you don't have the ability to build a stronger business, because all you can do is just like try to get through the day because you're so exhausted, right? Or maybe you're not taking that promotion, or you're not, maybe you have to stop traveling for work because you're just so exhausted that you can't keep handling it, but that takes away from you to be able to take next steps in your career. Or maybe you feel like you're not showing up as the best mom for your kids because you're exhausted and you can't keep up with them. So it's like, how much is exhaustion and low energy costing you in your business, your career, at home? And if you had full energy in your day, what would be possible for you? Because full energy is possible. And I witness my clients to full energy every day. And I myself have gone from having like a 1 out of 10 of energy to like an 8, 9, 10 out of 10 of energy. And only once in a while do I have to tweak things if I feel like something's off. But so many people don't realize, what's happening and don't understand why they don't have energy, and that they just get frustrated and angry with their bodies. And then the body shuts down harder because it's not getting the rest it needs. It's not getting the replenishment, the nutrients, the nutrition, the hydration, the sleep, the mindful movement, like the positive self-talk. And honestly, with all due respect to doctors, because I fully respect doctors and they're an important part of our health and wellness, but a general GP is not going to help you in these scenarios. Like, I've even had doctors tell me, like, we don't have time to do what you do. We have some time to like talk about certain things, but we're not there to handhold, or we're not there to, walk through every step of the way with our patients. And so I think it's just so important that we explore other means of getting support with health and wellness. And that's where I love taking a holistic approach, because you can blend that with, working with a GP, but you really address and get to the root causes of what's going on for you. But your cortisol and energy levels and your thyroid are very directly connected. And often if the thyroid is underactive, you'll have low energy as well. Cold hands and feet, hair loss, eyebrow thinning. You'll feel puffy. Your metabolism is sluggish. You don't feel hungry. You gain weight easily. And that impacts your self-worth and confidence and the way that you show up in the world too. So, addressing these hormone imbalances is so important. And often these hormones will go more out of whack when we're overachieving and we're not taking the time to really slow down and take care of ourselves. Another thing I see some of my clients struggle with is high blood pressure, because they're so stressed out, then the blood gets inflamed and it thickens. And, you combine that with poor food choices, poor gut health, high stress, hormone imbalances, food sensitivities, emotional eating, the go, go, go mentality, poor sleep, dehydration. And these women have high blood pressure. And so they're just put on medication. But again, the root cause of addressing what created this, like, you don't just end up with high blood pressure for no reason. Like, it's something that takes time to manifest in the body. And I also believe we can correct it. But as long as we're overachieving and go, 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 it's really difficult to address these different pieces that may be contributing. Again, cravings and blood sugar. You probably have bigger cravings for sugar, salt, carbs, fast food, crunchy foods. And maybe you find that you're giving into your cravings all the time because you're overwhelmed. You're not taking time to food prep. You're not taking time to just sit and eat. You're eating and working. You're eating on the run because you're always on the go. And as a consequence, you find yourself snacking a lot because you're overwhelmed or stressed, or you're rushing and you're not making food a priority. So therefore you're just, eating convenience foods or empty calorie foods and surviving off of caffeine, which again are never going to have you feeling satisfied. So then you're overeating all the time and that frustrates you because you feel like you don't have any willpower. And then you have some people who undereat because they're not taking the time to nourish their bodies. And then for most, I find it is the overeating. And then for those who are gaining weight and feeling out of control with their bodies, they'll go on diets. They'll think, I have to just go on a diet and it'll resolve everything. And it doesn't. And it often fuels the vicious cycle of emotional eating and lack of, self-worth and making you feel more insecure in your body. This overachieving mentality can have such a significant impact on your hormones and digestion that your PMS symptoms get worse or your menopause symptoms get worse. Potentially in other scenarios, maybe you can't get pregnant. Maybe your cycle has disappeared. Maybe you've gained a lot of weight and once you hit menopause and it just won't come off. These are really all possible scenarios that can be created when we are not taking the time to take care of our bodies. And I know it can be very significant, some of the symptoms and emotions that can come along with these different scenarios. Are you skipping bathroom breaks and just pushing through your work? Are you sitting in front of the computer while you're eating? Are you not drinking any water until you get home and you're so thirsty, that you don't even realize how dehydrated you are and that it's having a significant negative impact on your energy levels? I have so many clients and I've spoken to so many people, like I said, like in my talks and in the wellness industry, from coaches to psychologists to doctors and nurses. And this is what is happening. And this is what I'm seeing as a general result when I, do my health assessment with my clients, when we, look at their digestive issues, their hormone imbalances, test results, their relationship with food. I've seen so many clients who, are in mental health or, they have a very quote unquote successful business, but what they're not successful with is the way that they take care of themselves. And, it's having a huge impact on their relationship with their bodies, and they're binging all the time, or they're overeating and they're not sleeping well and they're moody and they're angry and they're frustrated about it. And then when we do look at their digestion, like they're so sensitive and so bloated to everything. They feel like it's just impossible to eat without getting bloated. And then, we get the hormone results back and, we look through symptoms and things like that. And it's like things are so significantly out of whack that it's like, how are you even functioning right now? I mean, I still think I've had the worst results that I've ever seen in my 6.5 years of being in my business, but I've seen some pretty significant imbalances. And to think that a mindset fuels behaviors and actions that then impact the body physically in this way is pretty significant. When you're an overachieving person who won't stop because you're stubborn, resistant, you believe that you have to, it's really about like, well, what is it costing you physically, mentally, and emotionally? Can you resonate with what I've been talking about so far regarding symptoms? Because I think it's so important to become aware that not taking the time for yourself can have a significant negative impact on your physical health, emotional health, all of it. And then a lot of people just think they need to be more disciplined when it has nothing to do with discipline. I just need to try harder. I need to be more diligent. I need to be more focused on my diet. And it's like, no, perhaps it's the overachieving mentality and your overbooked schedule that are having a significant impact. And that's actually what needs to change. The No Sugarcoating podcast is proud to partner with Blue Spruce Decaf Coffee Company, North America's only 100% chemical-free certified organic decaf coffee company. They were born to give decaf coffee drinkers the option to have a variety of high-quality coffee to choose from, so stop drinking decaf loaded with chemicals. All of their coffee is certified organic, 100% chemical-free, Swiss water decaffeinated, and best of all, tastes and smells amazing. You can find them at bluesprucedecaf.com or well.ca if you are shopping from Canada, and make sure you use promo code AMBER in all capital letters to receive 15% off of your entire order. So that brings me to my second point, which is overachieving and a lack of confidence. So I've kind of already talked about this, but there's just a couple key things that I want to address here. So I find when people are in overachieving mode, there's a lack of confidence. But when we're overachieving and you're exhausted and you're tired and you don't feel good in your body and you're unhappy with your weight, I often observe women who will miss opportunities. So it's like I've had clients who are nervous to get up and speak in front of, their colleagues or their coworkers or their employees or a crowd, like they have a speaking gig at a conference and they're nervous to get up and speak or, take advantage of opportunities because they lack confidence and they're worried that they're going to be judged by their weight by other people or that they're not going to be taken seriously because of their weight or because, they're worried people are going to pick up on their insecurities or their vibe, their negative vibe. And I think, if this overachieving and lack of confidence is, blocking you and it's making you miss opportunities in your career and your business and your personal life, like that's significant life impact right there. The women I work with who are very ambitious, they're inspired professional women, but, I don't think it's important to allow our body struggles to continue to hold us back. Don't let them hold you back from the promotion or putting the application out to, speak on the stage or do that TED talk or whatever it is that you want to do. But I think it's important for you to first address and pull out a piece of paper if you haven't already, because I think this is a great journal prompt, which is what things are you holding yourself back from because you're too exhausted, you're too bloated, you're too tired, you're unhappy with your weight, or you're just too overwhelmed? Is it dating? Is it charging more for your worth? Is it taking that speaking opportunity or that promotion? Is it expanding your business? Is it having a family? But I think that, there's so many body struggles that I've just mentioned earlier that are having an impact on your confidence to charge more, step into your value and worth, or impacting your work and your opportunities. So understanding, what it's costing you physically, mentally, and financially is huge. Like, how much money are you missing out on in your business or career because you're not, taking on the clients or you're not taking on the promotions or the opportunities that are standing right in front of you? Break that down, because it could be hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that you are missing out on because of your body insecurities and this overachieving mindset. Another aspect of this, confidence, self-worth piece is I find, you may feel pressure that you have to look a certain way to be successful or to make money or to be taken seriously. And you feel like until you achieve a certain weight or have a certain image that you actually limit the actions you take in your career, in your business, or your personal life, which I think also is very limiting. I really believe that our bodies hang on to protection when they don't feel safe. So whether it's stress, overbooked schedules, hormone imbalances, inflammation, digestive issues like bloating, food sensitivities, gut flora issues, emotional eating, dieting, poor metabolism, poor sleep, dehydration. Like, these are all things that will contribute to our body to hang on to protection physically. And then you have, negative self-talk and, always saying mean things to yourself and having, a lot of negative emotions towards yourself. Like, that will cause the body to hang on to stress because it is a stressor in itself. So if your body is hanging on to protection for many of these different reasons or all of these different reasons, we have to understand that not making yourself a priority, it really has a significant impact on your health and your weight. And for people who are saying they can't do certain things because of their weight, now your weight becomes your obstacle, and that almost fuels the fight, right? So when you have the focus that, it's because of my weight that I can't grow certain parts of my business or get that promotion, or, in the winter I gain weight and then in the summer I'll lose it. And so I will be more successful in the summer. Like, that's just such an obstacle. And now where you're basing a whole story around your weight or your low energy. And I know these are very relevant and I have compassion, but we've created these things and we can also resolve these things by making some, really powerful changes, or for some others, it's like, well, I want to do more videos or I want to be seen more, or I want to be on TV, but I, as long as I'm this weight until I lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds or however much, like, I'm not going to record those videos. I'm not going to go on TV. Right. But it's really significant. It's like, what does it cost you again, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, to use this as your block or your reason or excuse as to why you can't? And, what are you holding back on in your business, your career as a public figure or a celebrity, or professional, or in your personal life at home as a mom or a wife? What are you holding back on because you're not taking proper care of you and addressing the body insecurities? So I've already kind of mentioned this, but Having an overbooked schedule and distracting yourself with an overbooked schedule so you don't have to deal with your stuff will usually only make it all worse. It just snowballs. It has a significant impact on your energy, your hormones, and your emotional state of health. And when we have our worth tied up in how much we do, how full your calendar is versus your worth being how you truly feel about yourself internally, you will continue to exhaust yourself. You will continue to exhaust yourself. I cannot say that enough by doing this. Or maybe you're already significantly exhausted or unwell. Honestly, why do you think so many people end up sick and tired or having to admit themselves to the hospital for exhaustion or having to take significant work leaves? Because they way overdid it because of the perfectionist, overachieving mindset. And when we let that mindset lead us, it will eventually have a significant impact on our health, our weight, our hormones, our digestion, our relationship with food. And then it will impact every area of life if we're not mindful to take care of it. So if you're in a mentality of I'm always on the go, I don't have time to take care of myself, I don't have time to do that. Oh, self-care, that sounds stupid. I'll get a massage in a month, or I'm going on a vacation in a few weeks. And that's the only thing you're focusing on generally. And otherwise you're not taking time. Your quality of life may not be as ideal as it could be. But what's so fascinating that I find with the overachievers is when they start to do the work, they get to the point where they realize, oh my God, I need to make serious changes and I cannot continue this, because they start to feel better, but then the overbooked schedule kind of takes over and then they feel worse. And then they understand the significance and the role that the mindset in the overbooked schedule is playing. And even if you are really to the point where you want to cry because you think your schedule is just so overwhelming, you can still address it and make changes. And I've had clients that I've worked with that are in these scenarios where they're so overwhelmed. But once they start to experience for themselves the positive changes that happen when you shift, they want more of that. They don't want more of the overwhelm and the overbooked schedule. So they make decisions for themselves of, making significant changes. And I'm there to support them. I'm never going to be here and be like, you need to shut down your life. I don't believe in that. It's I want you to have a better quality of life. So let's see what's possible and what we need to tweak and change to do that. So it's all about supporting your health to support your success. As I mentioned earlier, I believe you should be able to be abundant, happy, and healthy and have everything you want, but that it shouldn't come with the cost of your health. I don't know how many times I've talked to women and men who have completely pushed their bodies past the brink and unfortunately have ended up, really sick with cancer and other illnesses. And their biggest regret is going, I wish I wouldn't have pushed myself so hard because I know that's why I'm in this scenario. We don't want to have that kind of wake-up call. We want to be preventative and catch it before those kinds of things end up happening. So honestly, if this is something you've been struggling with for a long time and you're really resonating with the conversation, I would encourage you to reach out and book your 30-minute body freedom call so that we can further connect and just have a conversation and go from there. Some things you can start to do on your own is to actually, pick one thing to start with, because doing a billion things, you're not going to set yourself up for success. So it's stop and just eat your lunch without distraction. Go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom. Hydrate and drink more water. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to start shutting off technology 15 minutes before bed, and that you're going to spend that 15 minutes meditating or journaling or deep breathing or doing something relaxing to calm your nervous system down, right? It's starting with simple things like that. It's also starting to address emotional eating if you have it, and getting the support with the hormones and digestion. If your energy is low, there could be many reasons for that. So again, further investigation to see if you have low iron, low B12, if you have hormone imbalances, if your gut flora and your gut health is poor, if your sleeping hygiene is off. These are all important things to address to support your energy levels. So that's where getting that extra support can really be helpful, and starting to make small changes on your own is important. Recognizing that you're an overachiever. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just to understand the significant impact it has on your health. I'm all for being focused and motivated and achieving goals and having big dreams. That's great. But again, it's when we completely push ourselves and our health out of the way to get there, and we're being driven from this place of insecurity, that I think it's important to build the self-worth so that you can bring in balance, so that you can have both your health and success, and that you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. I often find, women become more successful in all these areas of their lives when they do bring in more balance, because they feel better, and then you manifest and attract more what you want rather than what you don't want. So that's also where I think this is very beneficial, is the better you take care of your health, the more you're going to attract that really is in alignment with you in your lives. So I really hope that this has helped for you guys today. I was really, like I said, inspired to record this episode. So the show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/223. You can submit questions, feedback, podcast ideas to info@amberapproved.ca. Make sure you also go to my website at amberapproved.ca and take the emotional eating quiz if you're wondering if you're struggling. And of course, make sure that you enter the worldwide giveaway for the spa gift card for $150 to your favorite spa. You can either leave me a 5-star review and or you can also share the podcast on Instagram and tag me at amberammaniuk, ROMANIUK. To enter, the winner will be announced episode 225. As I always say, there's no better time than the present to take action on your health, so take action now. Have a beautiful day, a great week, and remember, you have the power to make these changes. I believe in you. I want you to believe in yourself. And I look forward to connecting with you, whether it's on social media, for a complimentary call, in an email. So I hope you have a great day and a great week. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, review, and rate this podcast and share it with your friends. You can find me at amberapproved.ca and follow me on Instagram and YouTube at amberammaniuk. Join me next Sunday for another brand new episode and another step toward body freedom.